And it is now my immense pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Etel Adnan. Etel is a Lebanese-American, one can say Lebanese-American French poet, painter and writer who is based in Paris. She has, and it will take a long time to talk about all the dimensions of her work, because it is like in superstring theory. There's so many of it. She's one of the great novelists, thinking about Sid Marie Rose, which actually happens during the 75 Lebanese Civil War, and it's a book so important to read now when we think about what's happening in the world. So for those of you who haven't read Sid Marie Rose, this is really urgent. But many other books of Etel, The Arab Apocalypse, In the Heart of Another Country, etc. Then, of course, her poems. As Mahmoud Darwish once said, Etel, in all the many decades of her work, has never written a bad sentence. And this is why Daniel Birnbaum, and we all agree with him, feels that one of the most urgent things is that Etel wins the Nobel Prize in Literature. So there is a committee now, and we hope you all will support that, Etel for the Nobel Prize. Etel's work, of course, was seen in Documenta 13 in Kassel with Caroline Christoph Bagakiev, who is here, where we could see her paintings. That is a whole other dimension of her work. And as opposed to her literature, where there is very often war and darkness and extinction, her paintings emanate an extraordinary optimism. There is her practice in drawing. There's her practice in cinema. She's a very prolific filmmaker. There is also her practice in theater. She's a very prolific playwright, has written wonderful plays. She's worked on tapestries, most recently also on murals. She actually wants to go outside the walls of the museum, outside the walls of the gallery. And that leads us to the beginning and her unrealized dimension, because actually Etel, from the very outset, wanted to be an architect and an urbanist, which, given the circumstances, wasn't possible. But now, with her work going into cities, that happens more and more. Etel has written text for a poster. Again, you can pick up the poster on the table behind. Animals have a rendezvous with intelligence because they live at survival level. They are showing the way. As part of her participation here tonight, Etel will be reading from the Arab Apocalypse, but she will then also read a new poem by the American poet Joanne Kiger, who is a very dear friend of hers. Joanne lives on the coast north of San Francisco, teaches at the Naropa Institute in Boulder, and is the author of more than 30 books on poetry. The most recent one, a very wonderful book called On Time, is published by City Lights, and she will be reading here a poem called Post-Extinction. Following her reading, Etel will then be signing copies of her new book called Etel Adnan in All Her Dimensions. So we're back to the superstring theory. And that signing will take place on the tables at the back of the magazine of the space here, where you also have the posters. Please give a very, very warm welcome to the great Etel Adnan. Hello. Hello. Nice to see you. Have you met them?
Yeah, we were both in document. But we were also involved in that
Thank you, Hans-Ulrich, thank you, and thank you all the people, friends who are here. I would like to start by reading a poem by Joanne Kiger, a poem written specially for tonight. She was not able to come, she's very sorry. The poem, Joanne is really one of the greatest poets alive today. This is called Post-Extinction. How could you forget me so quickly? But the way you are reached, touched, awakened by the world continues. The same way you yourself pass along a gratefully given lineage of existence. Each one, everything, perfect as is. like the moon going down never really leaves the sky. So existence never quits, never begun, never ended. You see, in this moment, so sorry it will never be like this again. But when has the present ever been singular? Everything with a language of distinction, with sorrow, with melancholy, with sweet appreciation of an extinguished future where water becomes a state of being. So this was Joanne's poem. Speaking of extinction, I thought I will read some passages from a book already published in 1989. But that poem is called The Arab Apocalypse, and it was written in the early days of the Lebanese Civil War. And as we speak of extinction, it's not only war is the worst form of extinction, because it's not in the lineage of death and resurrection. War kills more than people. People would die, you would say anyway. It kills ways of life. It kills the quality of life. It kills what's human in us. In that sense, it is really a serious form of extinction. So when that war in Lebanon started, I had a feeling that not only it was going to last a long time, but that it will generate other wars. It was the beginning of an ongoing apocalyptic era, at least for that part of the world. And it shows that up to now it has been unfortunately true. It's kind of an incessant series of unredeeming extinction. A clear morning of cold rocks lost on an oceanic trail. A lighthouse called a tide of Palestinians branded with red. The guts protrude as umbilical cords. Savage is the enemy who settles in their eyes. Stop, oh sorrow. The sun is a spinal cord ending in liquefied braids. Active death, livelier than life, but black and surgical. The solar stone column falling on the martyrs' heads. In the big halls of space, mortuary chambers are being prepared. Palestinians sing their own requiem in the launch rocket, piloted by the angels of evil in outer space. They get lost. Stone had no memory. Stop. The sun neither. Stop. On the marketplace, a bull is slaughtered in their stead. Between sunflowers and tops, there is eternal quarrel. An airplane is circling the earth without ever landing. The blood-stained sun is presiding in the prisons. Where do you want ghosts to reside? In our wakeful hours, there are flowers which produce nightmares. We burn continents of silence, the future of nations. We burn continents. The breathing of the fighters got thicker, became oxen. There is in that breath sparkles of scorched flesh and the fainting of stars. We crucify Gilgamesh on a tank, Viking II reaches Mars. Imam Ali dances over a nuclear plant. Cursed are the clouds which repeal water. Cursed are the Arabs who fell tall and haggard eucalyptus trees. We are all future corpses. The sun, like you, is covered with flowers. Eye of Baudelaire haunted by violence, divine eye haunted by matter. We are future astronauts gone to lunar funerals. The last assault is broken. The smell of sign portends evil. Continents broke away from their moorings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A horse swallows its own teeth. A yellow sun, a green sun, an extinguished sun, a green sun, a yellow sun. The poet came with blind words and empty pockets. B, C, D, E, F. Eye of Baudelaire mercenary, back from Angola, shipped by cable. I, O Ibn al-Farid, back from the Thames and spiked in Junior by the sea. The grave diggers used coffins to build houses. On every branch, the militia hung several heads. They dug out the dead, cut their organ and stuffed their mouths. One's cruelty was helped by the other's cruelty. Destiny has been derailed. On the wire, traveling dogs read messages. The radio gave the numbers and television the colors. I breathed the breath of the plague, and they chased me. They chased me out of the camp, throwing stones at me, throwing stones, throwing stones. The living had slept 59 days with the corpses, 59 days, 59 days, not counting the nights and the hours. There are more Syrian kings in the anthills than ants. Stop them. They drank drops of sweat and infants' blood. The invaders arrived with cameras, followed by a huge solar laughter. I pushed a body into a well and it talked back to me. I was scared. A fighter arrived running and planted a flag and a sword. The Syrian kings stood one by one, left their well for another well. The sun came down from the sky to inspect the underground. Stop. It went back, nauseated. The Syrian kings went into the second well on all four. I was scared. A fighter arrived perched on the tank. Stop. Saluting. Each leader's eldest son played ball with his younger brother. Stop. The American ambassador arrived with a bullet in the back and crutches. The son got subdued with tranquilizers, started chewing grass. Young men began hopping in their labyrinths, shouting, "Everything stinks." "Yes," said the son, "your conscience stinks too, as well as your tattooings." The Syrian kings tried to get out of their well. "No," said the son, "I'm blue." The son cut their throat and told the Palestinians, "This is your dinner." I want people to call God our brother, our brother. O celestial comrade, born of the night and of light, stop. O celestial comrade, receive your brothers in your eternity. O celestial comrade, write their name on their burnt limbs. O celestial comrade, give water and bread to the hungry. O celestial comrade, give fuel to the friendly airplane. O celestial comrade, please the widows by evoking their husbands. O celestial comrade, allow brides to ignore the sounds of war. O celestial comrade, reunite the combatant dispersed bones. O celestial comrade, erase the blackness of mourning and plant rose bushes. O celestial comrade, sing a requiem of glory for those whose voice is sealed in tombs. There have been pounds and pounds of decomposed flesh, tons of suffering, millions of dollars of pain, tons of crushed flesh. There have been mountains of corpses and rivers of blood, bags filled with bones, baskets filled with eyes. There have been meadows covered with human skin under the Arabian sky, millions of dollars of hatred and tons of sorrow. There have been yellow shells over the mourning of disemboweled houses, tons of despair, and gigantic rivers filled with our collective tears. This is the last page of the poem. Oil wells will dry out and 8-headed monsters will crawl on earth. Yellow is the color of plague. Yellow is the sun's color. Palm trees will fall in front of the electric organs. The banners of death float on the pylons. The desert will be covered with concrete. Springs sequestered by angels. Mountains of ice will melt in a boiling sea of salt. People's tongues will run into tongues of fire. On the throne of goodness there will be a mute death. On the seat of evil we shall install an old mummy. Throats will choke with gold. Iron safes used as coffins, and rats will inherit the heralded kingdom. When the sun will run its ultimate road, fire will devour beasts, plants, and stones. Fire will devour the fire in its perfect circle. When the perfect circle will catch fire, no angel will manifest itself. Stop. The sun will extinguish the gods, the angels, and man, and it will extinguish itself in the midst of its daughters. Matter spirit will become the night. In the night, we shall find knowledge, love, and peace.